Hi, welcome to my living room. This is Social Media Hangout, and we have a great show for you today, as always. But as usual on the panel, we have Kristoffer Howes and Ben Fisher. And as a special guest for you guys, we have Shannon Hernandez.
Hi,
Insert
everyone.
applause here. But
Yay!
let's say hello to Shannon. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, for those of
Uh,
us not in Arizona or listening to your station online?
okay, cool. No, not a problem. Thanks, Andrew. My name is Shannon Hernandez. You might have seen me around, maybe playing on the MIAC social media power chat, also on Chef Dennis's show. But other than that, I am also a radio disc jockey here in Arizona. Ben Fisher has heard me a couple of times. In fact, I think I've said hi to Ben and maybe your daughter, Ben. I can't remember.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you've said hi, you've said happy birthday, and you told my wife to feel better.
Yeah,
And yes,
I'm
it's
like
always awesome to hear your voice on the radio.
I'm like the happy-go-lucky DJ. I'm not like DJs. Just these days are not vulgar, I guess, anymore. They can be, but there's probably a fine that's associated with that. So anyway, I also help my sister with her digital marketing for Hernandez Family Law here in Phoenix, and of course, I just kind of wear a lot of hats. So. I really just kind of I dig the Google Plus network. This is where I spend most of my time, even though it looks like I'm not there. I'm actually commenting on a lot of people's different posts. So that's just a little bit about me in a nutshell and who I am.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised I never crossed paths with you before. Chris was telling
Right.
me about you, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's super active on Google Plus." And I'm like, "How?" And I was looking at your thread, like, you post about things that are interesting to me. I just, sometimes you get stuck in your bubble, so it's definitely nice to kind of reach out. So sometimes ask a friend, "Who are you following on Google Plus now?" See
Right.
see what they're doing. But yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah,
And
you too, Andrew.
yeah,
And
so
Shannon's one of these guys that really get the Google Plus too. If you watch the way he uses it, like he was just saying, he comments a lot. He's more of an engager. Like he really participates in the platform. He's somebody to watch.
Yep. And that's something I keep stressing. It's not about just jumping in and posting immediately. You don't have to have viral posts to be a good social media user, marketer, anything. It's about engagement. Just engage your audience. Even if your audience is 50 people, that's your audience. So yeah.
Actually, I think when Shannon and I met, God, what was that, maybe about 7, 8 months ago? It was in
Yeah.
some random thread. And we just started talking, and all of a sudden figured out that you were friends with me. And I was like, hey, dude, we need to hang out. And I
Yeah,
started
that's
checking out, yeah, started checking out your posts, and like Andrew was just saying, is Sam uses Google Plus right and actually engages with people and has intelligent conversations. I was like, dude, we need to hang out.
right.
And then from there, it was bromance from there on out.
I got a total bromance for Ben Fisher.
But
How
I
about
think
that for alliteration?
what's pretty neat though is it seems that it kind of built out from your radio experience as far as even showcasing other people's content, which is something that's very good to do on Google Plus, to mention them, involve them, say, hey, I'm sharing your stuff, but I also have an opinion on it. Let's talk about it. It's nice to see that, and it is. I just I thought it was neat how it kind of stemmed out from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the radio thing, I initially wanted to get on Google Plus because at the time when Google Plus had been released, I wasn't actually in part of the, I wasn't like one of the people who had access at the very beginning. I was just one of the regular people who showed up and just got an account. And I remember, of course, all of you guys might remember. It was very, very basic. It was very bland, but I think, it had to be there in order to get to where it is today. Now we see it as this mushrooming network. And you hear about it over and over and over. And so I really had thought to myself, God, the media industry could really take advantage of Google Plus. And this was even before I knew anything about the SEO benefits behind it. It was mainly a hangout thing. I was like, man, you could really engage an audience with this particular tool, and you could drive traffic to your website to do these certain things. This is before I really got engaged with that. As I continued to get on the network and really tried to get my audience to come over, well, my audience never really showed up because they didn't want to start a brand new account with anything. They were just like, this sucks. I'm not gonna. They had just come from MySpace. Then they went to Facebook. They didn't want to really upload anything that was brand new. The good thing about what we're seeing now with Google Plus now are people like you guys. who are really engaging in the network and really making quality use of the tools that are there, not just with Google Plus, but with all the other Google products and the social layers that go along with it too. So we're now, you know, I wanted to try to bring that over to Google Plus, but it never really has mushroomed into that. But my audience that is actually on Facebook, they know that I'm a huge Google Plus fan. I mean, they know this. They won't come over until something big will happen, and that's completely fine with me. I'm not going to try and drag anyone to come over. I will post, say, hey, I'm over here on a Hangout, whatnot. But you know, for the most part, if they want to come and hang out and they see, you know, they want to see me or they want to talk to me, they reach out to me on Google Plus. I've had listeners put requests in while I'm on the radio and come over to Google Plus just to put the request in because they know that I'll read it on Google Plus.
See, now that is an awesome strategy, getting people off of Facebook into Google Plus. If you want to request a song, come to Google Plus.
Yeah, I always say if you want to request a song, you're gonna have to reach out to me on one of the social networks. But I do hang out on Google Plus a lot.
We have a shout out from, shout out to Nazim who's watching and listening.
Nazim's
awesome. A question for Shannon: how do the people you work with view Google Plus? Do they see it as you wasting your time at work or improving your show?
I'm not going to name names. Please
only name names. You can only.
I will name names. You know, there are people over at the radio station that are either A, they don't really care about it, or B, they think that it's just a big waste of time, that there's no one on the network. They've read an article that was published, you know, 10 months ago, and they're still basing their opinion off that article 10 months ago. And then there are people, like say in the digital department, that have to keep up with this type of stuff. I don't think they keep up as fast because they have a lot of pots that they're having to, you know, boil and shuffle. But for the most part, it's a mixed reaction whenever they say, oh, you know, Shannon's on Google Plus, you shouldn't be there. But I mean, I still engage on my Facebook. My radio audience is on Facebook, so I really kind of mix the two in between. You know, I really, if I'm going to post something about, you know, one of my segments, 10 o'clock tool, I post it on Facebook. If I post it on Google Plus, it's not going to get a whole lot of traction because I've had a way different audience on Google Plus than I do with Facebook. So, and then of course Twitter is really kind of both. It's an amalgamation of both audiences. So I get a lot of social media marketers using their strategy to follow me and see if I'll follow them back so that they can start sending me to their landing pages and whatnot. But you know, I typically just follow the bands, and if there is a main, I guess, an influencer, I will follow them. I don't have, you know, they don't have to reach out to me. I'll follow influencers, whether it be Jay Bear or maybe it's Guy Kawasaki, Mark Traphagen. It doesn't matter. I'm following them. I just don't follow the other marketers. So that's just kind of the way I keep it there. But as far as radio is concerned, there's multiple uses for Hangouts. But as far as them looking at me, some think that I'm wasting my time, while others think that I'm actually investing more time in it, and it will be a benefit down the road.
Oh yeah, and that's what we keep telling people. This isn't just an immediate benefit kind of thing where you just post and you get a bunch of shares, you go viral, and you win the internet. That's not how it works. Right. You know, this is a long-term commitment, and it's something that you will reap the benefits of if you do it properly, of course. But I did want to shout out to Gary Emmett Chandler, who's in the audience again today. He was asking about the UI change, and actually that's the new Showcase app for Google Hangouts, which is very, very cool because, there's mixed feelings. All right, it's only available really on desktop. I haven't been able to notice if you can really use it on mobile or see any of those links. All right, so definitely not. I tried testing, but I wasn't sure if it was just me not doing it right. So, but when you set up the Showcase apps, you actually go in to start the Hangout, and you can go in and start it a week early. You just don't go live. You can open up the Showcase app, set up some links like I did, and whenever anyone comes to the event page early on desktop and they click play, they don't just get that countdown, they get your handy little call to action. So we have past episodes, our donate link, our review link, and I realized I'm still screencasting his question, not my face.
You are.
That's okay. I was reading it really slow.
but that's okay. No one wants to see my face. So, in
addition to what you were saying there, Andrew, is that Ronnie actually put out this really awesome trailer with the call to action links on as well.
Yep.
So he used that to basically do a nice video trailer about him and his services, and then he had the links to his services. I think it's a great way, and we could tie this back to the radio in a second, but I mean, it's a great way for businesses to see ROI directly from the killer app, which is Hangouts.
I mean, I'm seeing, so let's say Dustin Stout just started releasing his weekly news show. I mean, something that would be neat to see from Dustin is, if he could put out the event early and say, hey, this is what I'm looking at this week, this is what I'm going to be talking about, people can start doing their research, and then when he comes out with his video, he has a bunch of knowledgeable commenters to actually start discussing. I mean, it's a possible idea. Or even for our Hangout series here, release topics ahead of time, say, this is what we've been reading, check it out, and you have the links right on the side. I don't know.
Or what about when the show is done, set the Showcase app up, so whenever anybody rewatches, they have links.
Right, and that's something. So on the desktop, it is all forever for replays as long as they're from the event page, correct?
I would think so.
Okay, so I see that's motivation
And
from
YouTube.
Google to get
Actually,
people.
YouTube as well.
Oh, YouTube as well? I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So that's motivating people not to embed it in their site like they originally intended us to.
Well, I think the way it works is because on YouTube, especially on YouTube, so if you're watching it on YouTube, you get that little box in the bottom left-hand corner that says, kind of like how the Q&A app was, Q&A app is enabled for this. So I think it says Showcase app is enabled for this.
Okay. All right. So what about embedded videos? It also shows that with a clickable to get to the Showcase, or
Haven't seen it.
That
but
would be nice.
Assume so.
All right. Well, we'll have to do some testing. I have not had enough time to play with it yet, but no, it's exciting. The Showcase app and what's coming. I guess the shoppable Hangouts. Those are still on their way. I guess I don't know if they were in testing yet, or but so hopefully we get those soon, because we could have QVC on Google Plus, things like that.
I think there's just an amazing creativity, a creative aspect to even using the Showcase app, because instantly when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity, not just for online marketers or businesses, but I mean, anyone really to, like Ben was saying, what Ronnie did, that's an amazing thing that you could do where you're just listing different links. And I think, if I'm mistaken, I might be mistaken, but you can update those links in real time, can't you?
Yes, you can just add to the list.
So that's interesting in itself, kind of like a webinar where before you even want to go sell something, if someone wants to buy it, you could put a link in just before, as opposed to having the link always just sitting there. That's always interesting to me. Is I could see it for ticket sales for radio. I could see it for services for lawyers. I mean, I see it for a number of things, but I think the problem that we are always faced with, especially when we come in contact with business owners or maybe even just small businesses, is that they don't want to do the work that gets to that point. They just say, here, do it for me, and it's not like that.
What I really like too is the way they do the Showcase. So I just added the 98 KUPD radio link to our Showcase. So I selected Show Item, and if you click on Edit, you can actually see, you can select it. What it does is it pulls all of the images, kind of like when you do a Pinterest pin it from a website. That doesn't have it set up for one pin, but it pulls all the images. So what you can do is actually select a slideshow of images, and when they're watching it in the Showcase, that little thumbnail switches. So if you have several headshots or something like that you want it to scroll through of authors on a blog, that it could do that. So that's kind of neat. Something to play with, definitely.
The neat thing, though, is that there's a little bit of resistance, even with small businesses, to start doing Hangouts, right? They're scared, they don't see the ROI, etc. But when you're putting those links into the Showcase app, if you're using a UTM string that could track back to analytics, and let's say you're doing a product showcase, or you're saying an iTunes download, something of that nature, have it hit your website first, do a 301 redirect to iTunes. Now you know that HOA produced a click, which then produced a sale over on iTunes.
I just lost my marketing license for not putting tracking links there. I was not seriously, I'm done. Sorry, guys. Chris, I quit.
We're just going to go back in and edit the Hangout. Let's go back in and edit the Hangout.
Oh man. So right, that's everyone makes mistakes, right? So always be analyzing, always be tracking. Whenever you do something new, something different, yes, I need to go and change that for next week. But right, I was actually afraid because I never started. You can hit the start button for the Hangout, and I was just worried about doing that several days in advance. And I noticed the video. Then it was strange when I was logged in. It looked like I was live, and it had the live button, and I started freaking out. But
Oh yeah, that threw me off too. I was like, oh, I don't know about this. What's going on? Am I being broadcast live?
No.
And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And then I was like, oh, okay, I don't think this is. I think this is just. It's just.
It's
okay.
just weird because you yourself are in the Hangout, so you are seeing the live, but no one else sees that live. Yeah, it definitely freaked me out. So be calm. They definitely, it doesn't, when you hit start, it doesn't start it. It's just you're starting the app. That's
the app. Right, exactly. All right, so we have a question actually from Nazim as well. And Nazim wants to know, what is Shannon's favorite feature in Google Plus? And also, what is your least favorite?
Oh, that's a crappy question. No, I'm kidding. Well, God, jeez, the one that I actually use quite a bit. I'm a big fan. I think it's part of the radio guy in me, but I'm a big fan of going into the Explore tab. I love the Explore tab and just looking at the What's Hot section, and going in and seeing what's trending for the day or what what's happening for the day. I love to just kind of be on top of the news and see what's happening for the day. That's a very simple, I guess. I don't even know if that's a tool, but I do use the tool, I suppose, for researching. And of course, I have circles that are set out where there are news circles where I particularly check those every day just for the news apps, or the news itself. But Explore section, I like to see what's happening. Like SDCC has been trending lately, and so I like looking at the San Diego Comic-Con on all the pictures that are coming through, because you can get some real interesting pictures. And I don't know if it's me or if it's I just don't know. But I see more interesting pictures about things with conferences in the Explore and What's Hot section than I do anywhere else. And they seem to get reshared more and more. A buddy of mine yesterday posted a picture of Kirk Hammett from Metallica, and that was I was like, okay, big deal. But the more interesting pictures seem to be coming up on Google+. I don't know why that is.
So not lots of cats.
Right. No, it's not Catterday at all. Definitely, no.
Well, I would assume that you wouldn't get too many cat pics as long as you're not frequently posting Catterday, and stuff like that, right? I mean, that's the whole algorithm. See, I actually, it's funny. I think my least favorite is that same trending cat, the Explore, because I lose time. It's a complete utter time suck. I go in there 3 hours later, I'm like, oh shit, like missed 3 meetings, and yeah. So
that is true though. That's very true.
And that's what kind of it does scare me about being a marketer nowadays, because there's so much content and it's only rising exponentially. So it's you have to get better at sifting through all this stuff.
Yeah, I think, and I'm like you, Andrew. I have a problem because I have my Feedly open, and if there's a story that pops up, and then I'll just keep going through the feed, and I'll just keep scrolling through the feed. I will spend a good 30 minutes on Feedly. And then I'll be like, oh, well, let's see what's on Google+. And then I'll spend another 30 minutes in my feed of the same news that I had just read 30 minutes prior, just because I'm hoping that there's something brand new that will show up. I don't know why that is. That section is kind of addicting. It's not one of the things that I'm bummed out about. Hello. I have company that just came in. But it's just it's one of those things where I will lose myself, definitely. As far as, I guess, some of the worst things, or one of the worst features on Google+, I really don't know. I don't think I really have one. I enjoy it thoroughly. That's kind of a cop-out answer, isn't it? I guess, maybe? Right, Nazim?
Yeah, slightly. No.
Sure, slightly cop-out. I don't know. I love it. You can have a seat somewhere.
I actually did want to. I wanted to jump real back for a quick second, and that's something we're gonna have to watch for. Is people were saying that the Q&A app, it was somewhat of a comment killer because you have something open on the side, and it's just something different to watch. And the same could potentially happen with the Showcase app, because that's something they noticed. They're like, oh, I'm watching these links popping up, and I can't go and sit on the comment stream and involve myself. So My wife's sneaking in. I just see her in the corner there. No, it's something to watch. I mean, it's a matter of balancing the priorities. If you're looking to get visitors on a site, if that's the goal of your HOA is getting people to your site, getting people to your business, then the Showcase app might be more valuable. But if your goal is engaging an audience, building authority on a subject, and answering their questions, then maybe you shouldn't use the Showcase app. We'll have to watch and see, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, Scott Scowcroft actually just brought up a really good point, right? So I brought up the fact, hey, we got engagement. Scott came back and said, well, yeah, you've also got a lot of Google Plus savvy people in the audience. This is true. So I think then maybe it's the job of the hosts or whoever's putting on the event, if you're going to be using the Showcase app, to maybe include a couple photographs in your stream, or at least in the details right at the very top, say, hey, by the way, we're using this app, and educate the audience and say, if you want to be able to engage live while we're doing the Showcase, make sure you hit this little button which pops it out, does an overlay, and, you know, maybe that will work.
Is a massive hint to someone to write a guide for viewing HOAs. Include all of the features like Showcase, comments, how Comment Tracker picks up your comments and shows them to the people. Basically, there are currently 12 to 15 people now in the audience that are freaking out and writing this down. So go write a blog post. Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
I have too much on my list. So what's next? What's going on? What's going on in the life of Shannon Hernandez? Anything big coming up?
Well, anything? Yeah. Well, the one thing that came in was my girlfriend. She just walked in. So that's if your wife's just let's bring all the wives in and the girlfriends. They can pop their head. You can pop your head in if you want and say hi. She won't do it. She won't do it. She won't do it. She's shy. She's too shy. Aww. No. You know, one thing I actually did want to talk about was. You know, I think I mentioned the Godsmack actually doing a hangout, and you know, and bands utilizing this type of technology. What I find always hilarious about bands is that they reach out to their fans in certain ways and certain means. On the off occasion, like every 3 or 4 months, a band will send out an email saying, "Hey, here's our tour. This is where we're going to be. Peace out," and then we won't hear from them for another 6 months, and then okay, whatever. You know, follow us on Instagram, this and that, and that's typically how I keep in contact with certain rock stars, maybe frontmen, guitarists, and you know, there's a really amazing connection that you can make with that. But as far as the Godsmack Hangout was concerned, it was rough, it was choppy. I do give them kudos for stepping it up and at least trying it. I could never say, hey, Godsmack, you did the worst possible job ever on that hangout. It was horrible. No, it was actually a good effort. They did have a moderator. It's not like how we do it here, where you know, Andrew would be moderating or Ben would be moderating. It was actually someone sitting on the side, and it was the whole band just sitting in one room, and it sounded very, very difficult and hard to hear. But for bands, and I have brought this idea up for bands numerous times or countless times, about providing their own content on their own website, you know, even going from the YouTube live section and embedding and creating an event, and maybe even doing something kind of like what Daria Musk does, but you know, you could do it on Google Plus or you could do it on your website. Bands, I think, would be able to build out a lot more, I guess you could say, authority. Of course, they would definitely have to be drafting behind someone who is doing the same thing and have maybe a little more exposure into a certain space. But either way, I believe that if bands started doing something like this, especially local bands or indie bands who are looking to grow their base, because what you hear constantly about bands, they say, oh, it's too difficult, we need a record label deal, we need fronting, or we need backing for this, we need this. And what happens is when bands get the backing, yeah, they may get backing from the label or whoever it may be, but they have to pay that money back. Yep. And so that's why they're always out on tour. And so then I think to myself, well, there is no reason why computers were made, why smartphones were made, while we have all these tools that make things a lot easier, why don't you start building something online and start building, even building an email list that way, and then providing content
get a
that
day
way.
job and an internet connection. That's all you need to start. Like, just something to pay for the bills in the meantime, and at night you start building your audience. Do this. Literally, you could do the same exact thing Daria did, and I'm glad you mentioned her. Shout out to Daria Musk. She literally
Love Daria Musk.
She didn't even go into it with the expectation of anything. She was just doing Hangouts because she loved music. If you love music, play your music. People will listen to you if you're any good.
Right.
I mean, if you believe in yourself, just start playing for people. I have private concerts for the random people that you've met in a comment stream. Say, hey, we're playing. My band's playing. Like, would you come listen? We're doing it for 10 people. Like, you are a private audience.
Well, look at what Christine. I was just about to say real quick, Kristoffer. Yeah, look what Christine DeGraff recently did with the School of Rock, with the Gemba School of Rock. And that was a bunch of kids who are just kind of, just rising stars, and they're learning how to use music. There's also this group I know out there called Big Candy, which is curated indie music bands. And these guys are all starting to use Google+. So, I mean, I think that everything that you're just saying there is 100% correct. And if you actually had bands who were embracing Google+ in this kind of way, man, they could cut out the labels.
It's not even just music. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different uses now for these Hangouts. So something I was introduced to in a last Hangout was actually the Big Fun Education. Shout out to Big Fun. And they're actually, what they do is they're starting to do reading to children via Hangout. So, I'd be sitting here reading a story to 10 kids, who are sitting across the world, and, then it continues on YouTube. People can watch whatever. It's absolutely fantastic. They're going to start they're readapting screenplays for use in Hangouts so that people can put on a Hangout version of Macbeth or Hamlet or...
That'd be cool.
Like, I think that would be awesome to watch. And then, you get some personalities in there. You have your favorite band performing Macbeth on Google Hangouts. It's a weird offshoot to the side, but it just grows you. I mean, it's something different. I mean, be different, be bold. That's how you get something newsworthy.
Yeah, and I think if bands did, this doesn't even have to apply to bands. I mean, like you said, this could be someone reading a book. This could be someone teaching. I mean, this Hangout application itself, I mean, yes, it is the selling point that is behind Google+. What I constantly hear from people say, oh, I just use it for Hangouts. Well, okay, great. But the multiple uses that I've seen over the course of the last over the last 8 months of how people are being creative with it, it's no secret, but when I think people see how it's applied and how when they see that you can actually maybe use Hangouts or Hangouts on Air for different multiple reasons. Maybe it's for collaboration, or maybe it's for a show like this one, a talk show, or maybe it's for something like music. I mean, the opportunities are really kind of endless when it comes down to it, because it's almost as though you're just sitting there in front of the people. It really is, and I really embrace the fact that I can sit here and talk with my friends. Like yesterday, I was talking with Eileen Smith from Basic Blog Tips, and it was as though we were just right there. And she was like, I just wanted to meet her. That's all I wanted, because in my mind, Eileen's amazing. Eileen has a lot going on for herself. She has incredible authority. People listen to her, and I just thought that was amazing. And it was just a chat. That's all it was. But the creativity, the creative types, the marketers, the people who are looking to really make a difference, I'd be interested in seeing how they apply and use Hangouts for their benefit, not just for money purposes, but to make a difference. I would love to see how it makes a difference, it draws awareness. Kind of like this Showcase app I read in the little PDF that Google released. You could bring awareness by using the Showcase app. So I'd love to see the creativity. You got guys like Ronnie Bincer who are on the, they are in there. They know what's already going on. But how can you be more creative with the Hangouts application?
Yep.
Well, gosh, one quick idea right off of that, Shan, man, is really simple, right? If you do, say, an event with a celebrity, like let's say you did get Godsmack to come on and do something. then wouldn't it be awesome if there was a charity that was going alongside of that, and they were playing for charity? So
right, yeah,
like a telethon.
Yeah, exactly, like a telethon, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could do it in a number of ways. I brought the idea up to KUPD about, you know, well, it wasn't just my idea. It was also part of the digital department's idea about holding a concert where people who couldn't attend, maybe, you know, Youth Fest or something like that. That's one of our annual concerts. You know, they could watch it actually online. They could do it that way. You know, just get in contact with people over at YouTube and say, hey, how can we implement this to where it doesn't violate any type of copyright issues, where it's just a live concert. I mean, we've all seen it on YouTube before, so why couldn't we do it anyway? So that would just be reaching out to YouTube. But with using the Showcase app, like what you're saying, Ben, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, you could donate to like something that has to deal with maybe breast awareness, or maybe it has to deal with you know, breast cancer, or breast awareness. What am I thinking?
I am very aware of breast awareness.
I barely picked up on that right now. Breast awareness.
I don't know how we all missed that one.
I was just trying to remain calm.
So Shan, man, what you're saying is you're a supporter of breast awareness.
I am a supporter of breast awareness, yes.
That's a new hashtag, breast awareness.
No, but you get the picture. I mean, the basic idea and the understanding of, you could do a number of things. It's just where do you want to focus that energy? And radio stations today, all across the country, a lot of people have a lot of hate for the Double C Clear Channel, but you know, they have to follow a certain number of rules based off of how the company wants it to operate. I think if there's one person that will be open-minded in that company to allow something like this to happen, then I think then you could start seeing something mushroom out even larger on Google Plus as opposed to Facebook. I don't believe that one will dominate the other. I believe they both can coexist in certain ways.
Well, I'll tell you something that's interesting with that is I think just this week Google bought Twitch. I don't know if you know anything about Twitch.
No, I don't know that.
It's a live streaming service.
Google bought Twitch? I did not know.
Twitch, yeah. They bought Twitch this week. And it's a live streaming service. And the big plan is, of course, to implement it right away into the YouTube. Wait a minute here. I'll find the link and I'll throw it up there.
I was just thinking too. I sidestepped. Someone had mentioned, or Gary was mentioning that he's going to talk to a few musicians. He was talking, you know, that he knows of on YouTube. But I was going to say also, why not a rock opera? You know, there's the merging of the acting and the bands. That would be awesome, like a Repo Genetic opera on Google Hangouts. Like, that'd be so awesome. But sorry.
I call that nerd metal.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
I think that was Sarah Marshall in that rock opera there that he was writing.
Oh, that was good. I actually didn't even know that rock opera existed until I saw Repo. And then I watched every version I could find online. But it was interesting. It's an interesting blend.
Let me ask you, would you consider Dimmu Borgir rock opera? She says it's a hard one. Check out Dimmu Borgir. It's like gothy, heavy, dark, deathy metal, operatic. What is it? Black metal. I mean, it's got a symphony behind it. I mean, it's just such a dichotomy of
As you can tell, I am a dichotomy. I listen to rock opera. Like, I'm the most white bread looking person ever. But right, I have a wide range. I like
it's World of Warcraft music. I'll tell you that right now.
Nice. But
I'm only saying that because
earlier was what Shannon had said whenever he was talking about how the bands just throw out that email, you know, once every couple of months, you know, going on tour, I got a single coming out, whatever it is. And that compares directly with a lot of marketers today in that their strategy is they only reach out to their audience when they want something in return. When they have their own announcement. It's all about them. They're always talking about me. And the real importance with marketing nowadays, and especially more prominent on Google+, is building the relationship every single day. Not just when you want something, it's about doing things for other people too. Whether it's releasing a free track or, you know, this one's not finalized yet, but we just did, you know, just something to build a relationship with your audience. And, you know, Shannon knows about that in the radio industry. You know, as a DJ, he has to build his audience when he gets on the air. The radio stations, above all, should know that, because that's what it's all about for them, is building and maintaining their audience.
See, this is why I've always gravitated to Chris since I met him, because our brains are in the same place. I was going to say, similar to that, also, it's not just for selling or even just for, you know, helping others. It's also for helping yourself. I look at this hangout right here. This is my professional development for the week. This is my practice for when a client goes, hey, we need to have a social media hangout series, you know, or a social, you know, a Google Plus Hangout on Air series, and you know, how do we do that? Well, I actually have this experience. Yeah, it's build on yourself, and not only that, but the conversations we have here, I always come away learning something. We don't write a script. We kind of work through our problems as they come up.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that about this. You kind of see our thought process, and sometimes we're wrong.
Hey, man, you know what it's all about? It's just about trial and error. I mean, I've been in the game long enough to know that I could have started something and it was an utter pile of crap. But I learned from it, and I learned either A, I'll do it again, but I'll make the enhancements, or B, I just won't even consider the fact of doing it at all. So I think that's, I mean, it's worth at least just trying, especially for certain bands. I know that their band, like Steel Panther, I know that they would be probably open to doing something like this, but they're constantly on the road that, you know, it's difficult for them to do that. But they do have a social media following.
Then again, I think that people overestimate the amount of time and effort it does even take to do this. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It takes a $100 webcam and the laptop you already have. You know, that's and a half hour of your time. You literally plus. I mean, yes, there's the marketing aspect of it and getting it out there, but I'm assuming a band has someone that does many of these things for them. And if they don't, it's spend 15 minutes a day to promote your upcoming Hangout on Air. I mean,
you see, that's just it. A lot of the fans don't necessarily want to hear from an agency speaking on behalf of the artist. They want some meaningful connection of their own with that artist. I mean, we've done some work for some music artists, and until that music artist comes in and does a tweet themselves personal, you don't get that same engagement.
Right, but if you don't have an hour a day, spend a half hour. Don't have a half hour, spend 15 minutes. Just get on there for, even if it's responding to 2 comments, those 2 people will then go, dude, Shannon Hernandez, he's talking to me on Google Plus. It's so awesome. He's on the radio and he's talking to me on the internet. It's meta. Yeah, it's.
All right, I'll just bring this up.
5 minutes a day over 6 days is a 30-minute video.
Right.
I'll just bring this up really quickly, and that is that we've seen celebrities engage on Google Plus before, and when it happens, it's huge. You know, and they're great at Facebook and Twitter, and you know, when they hit Google Plus, it's amazing. So I think it's a great call to action, though, to anybody who is A, probably doesn't want to be associated with a label, or B, just wants to do something with their lives, is just experiment with the technology. Just get out there and do it. Like you were saying earlier, Andrew, get a job and spend some time on Google Plus and start a freaking Hangout. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen is nobody shows up. If that doesn't happen, go engage your audience, bring them over to the show, get them involved in the show.
Right, and you're still practicing, and you're still building up a back catalog. So something I always complain about is when I get invited to a community, and I go over to the community, and there's not a single damn post, not even a single post saying, "Hey, welcome to the community." Like, you need to build it up, just like a community, just like a radio show. Even if you have 1 viewer, you still start your show at episode 1 and keep going. You just start.
And that's totally true, Andrew, because what you're saying is completely true. You know, I didn't get the name Shan Man because it happened overnight. You know, I got the name Shan Man over time. You know.
Hey, what's up? I'm Shan Man.
Yeah, and in fact, the first time I remember getting on the air, I remember my boss, my program director, said, "What name are you going to go as?" And I was like, "Oh hell, I don't know what I'm going to go as." And he's like, "You want to go by Shannon?" And I was like, I don't know. And so the first night I went on the air, I went on as Scott. I had no idea what I was trying to do. I had no idea. But as I continued to have that routine, I mean, if you had to take out the entire element of a salary of radio and just keep the element of the routine and maintaining the routine, the moment that I went out and I was full-time and I got to my first concert.
Uh-oh. Did we lose
He
him?
He's leaving us hanging.
So
No idea.
I was gonna say-
you're Mark Traphagen, you know.
That's perfect.
And-
He's there
like-
he is. Oh,
And,
he's back. There he is.
Oh, am I back?
First concert. You said first concert?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's what
Yeah,
I
so I said the first concert, you know, is when I went to my first concert, someone was like, "Oh my God, you're Shan Man," and they were like mind blown by this, and they would geek out kind of like how I geek out about seeing Mark Traphagen. You know, I'm like, "This is Mark Traphagen," and that's exciting, but it's all about the repetition. It's all about the consistency. That's why, like, when you're doing the social media hangout every Sunday, it's a consistent thing. You know what's going to happen. You may not check it once on Sunday, but you may check it again on Sunday, and you may not check it for the next 2 Sundays, but your schedule changes, kind of like how football seasons, you know, they happen all the time, every time in the fall. So you have to adjust your schedule as to, hey, do I really want to watch the social media hangout? Well, maybe I can't, but I can go back and I can re-watch it. But if I want to engage with these guys, and if I want to answer these questions, I have to actually be there. You'll make an effort to be there, especially if it's maybe getting free advice, or maybe it's, you know, getting a free offer of some sort. It's just a number of uses.
It might also be because we're not talking about a topic that applies to you. We might be talking about Pinterest and, you know, LinkedIn, but and you know, have no interest in it. But later you might come back and say, "Oh, I'm making a LinkedIn profile. Hey, there's that old video." We're not serialized. It's not, you know, if you missed the first 17 episodes, you're lost right now. Like, that's not how it works. You can jump in at any time, watch in any order, whatever is important to you, skim through. You know, a lot of our old episodes have time-stamped descriptions, so you can actually just say, "Hey, I only want to hear Chris talking about authority." That's it. You know, and that's fine. That's all you need.
Yeah, and in this case, you know, if you want to talk about breast awareness, just understand that.
Ben, I know where your mind is going right now.
But I was also going to make an argument for not having, don't have too hard set of a plan. Plans, it's the best laid plans of mice and men, is where your hangouts, your radio shows, you know, if Shannon had gone into that show and had spent weeks, you know, formatting and planning out exactly what he's going to do, he probably would have just fallen flat on his face. Sorry to say, but it's because
the minute something goes wrong, the minute something goes off your plan, you fold.
Right, and also you don't know who your audience is. You're still building your audience, so you want to be able to change as your audience changes. Like, you know, it's when people post those infographics for post at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. That's it. No, it depends on when your internet users, your audience, are following you, and that's same with a radio show. It depends on what your audience is interested in. If you guys aren't interested in what we're talking about, please tell us. We will completely change topics. That is fine with us.
And just like with the videos, I mean, they say, "Oh, post at this time because your audience is on at this time." Not your audience is going to go to your page when they have the time. When they're looking for something that you offer, they're going to go to that page, and that information is going to be there. There's going to be, you know,
if you've proven authority. If you've
exactly. Not just because you're posting at 9 p.m.
Right. It's a consistency game. In radio, we call that appointment listening. We have a rating system in radio called people get these rating like little pagers, and they have to wear them. And it's all based off the Arbitron ratings. So it's based on time spent listening. So how long will this person spend time listening to the radio station? So that's how we're rated. But the other thing you have to consider is that you know, I hold 2 segments on my show. One is called the 8 o'clock shuffle, and another one 10 o'clock tool. Well, I can't tell you how many times that I have heard from someone that says, "Oh, I don't sometimes listen to 10 o'clock tool, but I know that I know 10 o'clock tool happens at 10 o'clock, and I know that I can hear, you know, 3 Tool songs, you know, a half hour's worth of Tool songs at that particular time, and that is the best segment that I have heard on radio ever." So people are like, "That's the best segment ever." Other people say, "Well, that segment sucks. I'd rather listen to the 8 o'clock shuffle." The key here is that it's appointment listening. So if social media hangout happens every Sunday at noon, you know, Mountain Standard Time, you know it's happening every time. Like you said, Andrew, it happens, and you can go back and you can watch it and you can engage with it. And this is the beauty of it. I love the beauty of the engagement afterwards. You can still engage watching the recorded version and still engage as though we're live. I mean, I just think that is brilliant.
You know, that actually kind of brings up a pretty decent point, and that is when you're talking about appointment scheduling with radio shows. Like, for instance, wouldn't it be neat with Social Media Hangout if, you know, to say the first 30 minutes of the show was about the guest. Maybe the second 30 minutes was about news. So people who are interested in news can pop in halfway through. They don't have to sit there for the first 30 minutes and say, oh, I don't want to listen to Shan, man.
Right.
Although nobody would say that about you, of course.
They would listen. They would say that. They say, I don't want to listen to Shan, man.
A quick shout out to Roxanne Davenport, only because she's a little confused about the showcase app. We were talking about this earlier. It may be a little difficult to comment. So what was the solution? Just a new tab open with the event page, or?
Yeah, there's a little button in the upper right hand that says pop out, and you click the pop out, and it pops out into a new window, and you can continue watching there, and then just move your other window to the left.
But I do know Kristen is hard at work on a viewing guide already, so she is.
I love Kristen. She's awesome.
But yeah, Kristen is fantastic. Yeah, so we have another comment. Phil Boyer, from Daniel Davis. Phil Boyer and I were throwing around the idea of musicians jamming on an HOA from separate places. The quality of the sound is surely a concern, yet still a possibility. I actually know there is a community that is running weekly jam sessions. The Milk Jam, I think, is it. I don't know if anyone can verify that. But Google Plus search the Milk Jam. I'm 98% sure that that's the name of the hangout. And they actually do. It's an open invite to all musicians who want to come in and jam. It's a completely. I know they focus. You know, they want to focus on the art, not structure. So it's loose. So, you know, it might be a little disorganized, but just, you know, check it out. It might be worth it. I have not myself, but I don't know. It might be neat.
So, I think that's even what Daria did, actually, where her 3-year anniversary is. She had people jamming in multiple hangout windows.
But I feel that she prepared that only that, like, she knew the other musicians already, and they knew what they were doing. You know, it was that kind of, you know, they were playing together. But as far as, like, an actual jam, like the strict definition of jam, not just play a song together. Like jamming's a little. I mean, at least as I remember being at Drexel, I knew a few jam bands, and they would literally they smoke a little something, go in the basement, and then just literally just play their instruments together. I mean, it's they didn't play songs; they just jammed.
That's jamming.
Yeah. Like it's whereas Daria was playing songs. Not to discount what Daria did. I thought that was awesome, but you know, that's just me. All right, well, it's 3:54, and that absolutely flew by. I would love to do this for another hour, but I know everyone likely has a lot of stuff they need to do today. But I guess, you know, we'll go around for some final thoughts. That seems to be a popular way to end the Hangouts. Ben, any final thoughts today?
Any final thoughts? No, I think the only way I could wrap up this segment is to say, hey, look, if you want to be successful on G+, just do it, try it, fail miserably, and you'll have great success. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
And how about you, Chris?
Well, my final thought is you need to follow Shannon. If you haven't got Shannon in a circle now, you need to watch him. No, seriously, because Shannon understands the platform. He appreciates the platform, and he's one of these people that's trying to merge industries. Now, you're going to see that Shannon's going to be doing a lot of great things with radio and with the internet, whether it be Google Plus or whatnot, and the Hangouts and stuff. So I'm sure Shannon's the guy to watch.
I actually did want to get to that too, and we completely just ended on the time. But, right, like how radio is not dead. Radio is now evolving, and the stations and the radio personalities that evolve with it are going to succeed. But the ones there are stations that are just going to die out. I mean, it's people don't want to just listen to a computer churning out music. If they want a computer churning out music, they have Pandora. Sorry, but that's how it is.
No, they want a personality like Shannon. They want somebody they can relate to, somebody that relates to them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, and I think, you know, I know we got a few more minutes, but that's a huge thing that I learned from Jason Newsted, who used to play in Metallica, and he used to be all about the fans. He would be out there in the crowds, shaking hands, and always just being around the fans. So that is something that I kind of pulled in to the radio world. I was like, I own a house, or maybe I rent an apartment, and I have a car just like you. It doesn't make me any better than you. I'm there with you. The difference is that for whatever reason, I just have a microphone, and they seem to see that as a little more, I don't know, exclusive, I guess. I don't know. But I'm still the same person. I do not want to change that, and I think radio personalities should really do that. There's still a lot of radio personalities out there, in especially the United States, that feel as though they are way better than their fans, and it's just kind of like they really need to take a step back and say, hey, I'm with you, not against you or putting you down. So radio personalities definitely can add this into their arsenal of knowledge as radio continues to evolve over time.
Right. I've definitely met one or two arrogant radio show hosts in my day. It's you meet them at that event, and they put out that air of, and I'm like, yeah, like not to downplay what you do. I'm just saying, like, you're not a surgeon. You're not saving lives.
Let's downplay it.
Please be honest. Like, please, it's.
Let's downplay it.
You have an awesome job. Like, you should cherish that. So yeah.
I have the best job. I have the best job pushing 3 buttons.
But you're also the spokesperson for breast awareness, apparently. So.
But
there you go.
Promote breast
Far
awareness
more classy job.
on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And the last thing I gotta say is anybody who's in the audience, come to Phoenix, hang out with me, Shan, Kristen. I think you're also here in Phoenix. We should all hang out. We'll go to a bar, and all I can say is this is an insider joke, but we'll talk about space junk.
We'll talk about space junk, and we'll watch Ben Fisher get into a bar fight.
Let's plan something. I'll jump on a jet and I'll meet you there.
Okay. Chris, you're welcome anytime, man.
Oh, dude, I'm flying in tonight.
Wow, so that was an absolutely fantastic show, and I just want to say thank you to everyone everyone who's watching, as well as Shannon. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, and we're going to have you back on because that was awesome. And Kristoffer and Ben, thank you as well for not having me alone in a room with Shannon.
That could be dangerous.
Oh, I get it. But yeah, thank you very much, and you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the communities. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Shan.
Not a problem. Thank you, guys.